Hi, folks. Here is the California Flats LLC Roundtable from Ventura County to discuss what people in real estate are thinking about, but not always saying out loud. Today's topic: what happens when environmental instability starts colliding with property value? Joining us today is Jeff, our real estate and leasing specialist with decades of experience in multifamily leasing, residential investment properties, appraising, and long-term market trends. Jeff, thank you for joining us.
Happy to be here, although I'm not sure happy is the correct word for today's topic. I have worked for 25 years throughout Ventura and the surrounding counties, observing firsthand how insurance pressure, wildfire exposure, environmental concerns, and changing landlord and buyer psychology are beginning to affect real estate conversations behind the scenes. Apparently, we call it market adjustment.
Yeah, right. For decades, California real estate operated under a simple assumption: people will always pay a premium for location, ocean views, desirable zip codes, weather, lifestyle. But lately, reality knocked on our door. Sounds too dramatic?
Not really, because eventually risk becomes financial. And once risk becomes financial, it becomes a real estate issue.
We've had Porter Ranch, Santa Susana contamination concerns, repeated fires across Palisades, Malibu, Ventura County, and Los Angeles, insurance carriers exiting California, and now Garden Grove is the latest, with hazardous materials incidents in the middle of dense urban areas. At what point does this stop being news and become part of valuation?
Exactly. Have you noticed how rebuilding is no longer the hot topic it once was? Turns out, repeatedly evacuating your neighborhood every few months isn't the luxury lifestyle package people imagined when buying in California. More owners are quietly exiting than people realize, some selling far below prior expectations simply to escape the uncertainty. And honestly, people deserve transparent discussions about environmental exposure, long-term health risks, infrastructure vulnerability, and the real economic consequences tied to these issues. Because eventually, markets price reality, even when institutions, developers, and some politicians would prefer a more inspirational brochure.
That's a line right there.
I try to keep things uplifting.
But seriously, something interesting happened after the recent fire events. Rebuilding used to dominate the conversation. Hot rebuilding markets, strong comeback zones, opportunity areas. We don't hear that narrative as loudly anymore.
Not really. Coastal Commission's snail-paced approvals. And another factor is eventual financial risk, to mention just a few. And once risk becomes financial, it becomes a real estate issue.
And then homeowners and landlords discover their dream location comes with a monthly insurance payment that resembles a luxury car lease.
Assuming they can get insurance at all.
Let's shift into something people don't discuss enough: healthcare costs. You made an interesting point earlier. Environmental exposure in America often becomes a private financial burden.
Absolutely. That changes everything. If residents begin associating ownership with health exposure, long-term uncertainty, recurring smoke events, contamination concerns, or chronic respiratory risks, then buyers or investors start mentally recalculating the true cost of ownership or investment.
So environmental instability becomes not just a public health issue, but an investment performance issue.
And from an appraisal perspective, we already have concepts for this: external obsolescence, environmental stigma, diminished marketability, and increased risk perception. The terminology already exists and is used in appraisal reports. What is changing is the scale.
Which brings us to the uncomfortable question. What happens when environmental resilience becomes more important than prestige zip codes?
Then the definition of prime real estate changes completely.
Well, on that cheerful note,
I promise I'm actually fun at parties.
thank you for joining the California Flats LLC team for this completely relaxing discussion. We will look forward to your comments or questions.